Yeah, so I bought that back in the day for 159. It's now worth just over 450. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's amazing. Even you like doing the research that young to look in the papers, see what's actually happening,
yeah.
to sort of know how you're gonna do your own thing.
Yeah.
That isn't normal.
And what is normal now is social media, right? So trigger that. But the question is, who are most people following on social media? What are they paying attention to? What are they tuning into every day? Because what you tune into, you turn into. So it's like you got to focus on where you're putting your attention, because where your attention flows, your money grows. So you got to just pay attention to the right things, and then over time, you start to create massive opportunities for yourself.
So wait, hold on. What was that? Where your attention flows, your money grows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Write that one
I'm
down.
getting jealous.
No. Lewis, yeah, one thing I would love to know is of all the people that you consult for, that you mentor, and stuff like that. What are like? Because a lot of them are probably like us and from our similar backgrounds. What are sort of the main things that you have to help coach out of them? That then once that thing is learned or unlearned, takes them to the next level. Like, what would you say that's?
And just to add to that, what's the thing that you see that's consistent among the ones that excel?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to start with, the first most powerful thing that I teach people that nobody can avoid, doesn't matter how much money you make, how successful you are, nobody can avoid it, because it's seeded from the age of 8 and most people don't check it. It also has the biggest impact on your income right now, and that's your mentality. And so many people will say stuff like, I've got a good mentality. And I'm like, okay, how much money do you make a month? Okay, £3,000-4,000. You don't. You don't. And the fact is, because whatever you make, whatever you earn, it's been seeded that that's good income for you from the age of about 8. And you've kept that running with you. So if your parents said to you, okay, yeah, 50,000, £30,000 is a lot of money. You make 50, you think you winning. You make 100, you think you gone. And I know, because it happened to me. So when I hit my first 100,000, I was like, I got too much money. I don't know what to do with it. Let me give it all away. Seriously. But like, and you don't realize it at the time, but your wealth is just dwindling. I'm just giving it all away. You know what I'm saying? I'm like buying my family cars. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's about checking and going, okay, where are my checks and balances here? Like, is my wealth going in the right direction, and what am I actually setting myself up for? So once I started to really research money and understand it on a different level, my wealth just like catapulted to a whole new level.
Was it a thing of like, so you're saying that it's almost, because I've actually probably seen it in myself and other people like that are trying to almost like you've hit the ceiling in terms of the mentality where you can make the money. So we've been told, okay, 100K is 6 figures is good. So if you I made 6 figures this year, I'm good, I'm doing all right. But then you are around other people that are making more than that, double, triple, and it's like, how do you do that? Because you're almost self-sabotaging it.
Yeah, and here's what I say to the people: take your annual income and figure out how to turn it into your monthly income. Yeah. And once you start thinking like that, then you're gonna keep on growing, keep on pushing the boundaries, and keep on creating new income, new levels of income, and new levels of impact. Because that's one thing as well. A lot of people think that money is bad, and they won't say it, but their actions will show it. They think that money is bad.
Especially in this country, like look at Sterling, was it? Just showed himself buying his mama house, and he for years he was getting dragged in the papers with any purchase that he made.
And the thing is, we see that as a black person and go, oh, it's not good.
Yeah.
We're taught indirectly in our culture, or I can only talk about my experience, is that once you start earning too much, it's like you don't want to tell people.
It's not good. Don't tell anyone.
It's negative. You know, why are you earning so much? You
Don't talk about it.
Yeah,
But you've got to shift your mindset and go, actually, the more income I make, the more impact I can create for my community. Because that's what it's all about. Once you become financially free, money's not really about you. It's about how can I impact, how can I add value to more people in my community to help other people to grow.
Okay. I was just gonna say, like, nowadays you can't not speak about the use of like social media and what it's done. So how, like, when did you notice that you could use your platform to really excel and really get your message out there too?
Yeah, sure. So, as you know, I was working in the education space, so I was quite scared to talk about money. Again, my mindset was messed up, right? But when I started investing in myself seriously, heavily, in about 2016, I realized that I needed to make a shift. And through that period of time, I remember one time I walked into my office and my chief financial officer at the time told me that for the first time ever, we can't make payroll this month. And I freaked out. So yeah, I freaked out because I've got like 150 employees. I need to make sure that everyone is taken care of. And I remember what my mum said, what my mum said to me when I was young, which was make sure that you look after the people that look after you. And I knew that my team members, they looked after me. So I did everything that I could, made the payroll. And then after a while, after a couple of years of sort of going through that process, I was like, do you know what? I need to learn everything that I need to know about money. I've studied so much of my time, my energy, my resources on learning how to be a businessman, learning how to be an expert in my field. And I got good at that. But I didn't understand what I was actually working for, which was the money. So once I started to untangle that, and then I started to talk about it on social media, and then people were like, Jazz, this is amazing. Like, you need to tell us more. You need to run a program. You need to run a course. And that's literally how I got started a couple of years ago in this lane that I'm in now. And as I say, I sold that education business a couple of years ago and started to scale what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And like, how do you deal with putting things out and the comments that come? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of negative comments as well that require you to respond again and things like that. Like, how do you deal with that? Because a lot of people have a lot to say, but then they're afraid of that, and that actually stops them. Even, you know, with us, like, you know, we don't really like to put ourselves out there, like, but then we do it anyway because we know that that's just, you know, that's just like a barrier. But really deep down inside, we don't want to, and that's probably stopped us doing things in the past. Like, doesn't do that now, but there's a lot of people that go through that and it legit stops them. So how do you put yourself out there, open yourself up for people to make comments, and when they do make comments, keep going, you know?
I appreciate people, man. And I really understand people. So when people come from a negative space and have negative comments and all of that sort of stuff, I just sit with it for a moment and think about where they're at. Because what it's showing is where they're at, they're coming from a position of lack. Right? And it's about educating them. So one of the things that I do with negative comments a lot is I ask questions. I don't say, no, you're wrong. You need to do this. You need to do that. I might say something like, where did that come from? So I'll give you an example. I was on a clarity call with a young lady yesterday. And she effectively said, I want to do your program, but, and then she just came up with a whole list of excuses, right? And I said, can I share something with you? She said, yeah, sure. I said, that's not you talking. That's that mentality that was set from the age of 8. And then she was like, okay, but anyway, she and then I did a story about it on Instagram last night, and I was like, oh, this girl, you know, she was like so confused and this, that, and the other. And then she sent me a message last night, and I don't usually check my phone at night, but I checked it, and the message read, when she read my story, she wrote, I hate you. And I was like, shoot, reminder, Jazz, don't check your phone at 10 p.m. But then I remembered what I just said to you. Understand where they're coming from. Do you know what? That girl rang me this morning. She said, Jazz, I'm ready to join your program. Wow. So I listened to what you said, and you're completely correct. I was letting my limitations hold me back. I was letting that previous mindset hold me back, and I'm ready to take my life to the next level. How do I join?
That's amazing. No, go. Do you want to carry on? Because I want to take it in another direction. I don't want to take it there.
No, go for it.
Cool. So I think that, I spoke to you and I mentioned briefly about the Rolex thing, you know, that piece of content, and it triggered a thought, two things. So I'm thinking, number one, I want to hear about your property journey, because we had a property strategist podcast, so we like to hear about your journey. So I want to hear about your journey after the first property you bought, because I think it was a residential one. You rented out the rooms. I want to talk about, you know, how that was and what happened next and how you built your portfolio. But also, there's a balance that I'm even struggling with, you know, that I want to get your opinion on, and it's that idea of like materialism, like materialistic stuff and materialism, holidays and enjoyment versus building wealth. And how do you advise somebody to find that balance as you get older and grow older? Because, and I say this because you mentioned something in an interview that I listened to one time, and you said that, look, some of this stuff is not negative as well. Some of this stuff actually helps you to have a better perspective on where you're going. For example, buying a Rolex isn't bad if you have the money to buy it, and it's going to motivate you to get more stuff and kind of make you feel good while you're, you know, doing what you're doing. But also, if it's negative, if you're losing your last money to do that. So the question is, anyway, is what's been your property journey, and also how would you advise younger people to find that balance between materialism and building wealth? Yeah,
let's start with the balance one. First of all, it's not a balance. Okay. It's a season for everything, right? So there's a season to focus on building up your passive income assets. And that's what I say to, especially to young people, like the only reason that you should be working a 9 to 5, or the only reason that you should be running your business, is to become financially free. Because from there, everything becomes easy and simple. So build up that passive income, and then you can start to say, okay, right, how many holidays do I want to go on a year? What kind of car do I want to drive? I'll give you another example. So earlier this week, I went to the Bentley showroom. I'm driving around this Bentayga. Let me tell you something about the Bentley Bentayga. It drives different. now, and I'm thinking, like, when you look at a Range Rover and a Bentley Bentayga side by side, they don't look that much different. When you get inside a Bentayga, it's worlds apart. So here's what I did. So I went there just to check it out and just to see what it's like, right? So here's what I said to myself. All right. I said, I'm going to make sure, I'm 36 now. I'm about to be 36. So I said, all right, by my 40th birthday, I will have a Bentley Bentayga. Here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to make sure that I'm generating a minimum profit of 100 grand a month for 12 months straight. Before that time, I can't do it. Yeah. So now I've got myself a target to go. But what most people do is they go, okay, Bentley Bentayga, okay, how much is it? 100 grand. All right, cool. I've got 100 grand, so I can go and buy a Bentley Bentayga right now if I want to. But I've got other stuff to do. I've got properties to invest in. I've got passive income, more passive income to create. So it's about building up that passive income first. That can then buy the materialistic thing, if you like. But I don't really see it as materialistic. See, a lot of people think that, oh, this stuff is materialistic, blah, 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 blah. But then you check in their shoe cupboard, and how many shoes do people have? They've got 50 pairs of shoes. So it's all relative, right? Like, it's like, what is it? And one of the ways to look at it is like, okay, how much am I generating passively? And then use that passive income to buy whatever it is that you perceive as materialistic. You know, because as you say, these things can really start to heighten your consciousness. And once the mind is opened up to a new idea, it's very hard to go back to its original form.
Yes. I agree.
So once the Range Rover is your standard, you're not going back.
I'm telling you.
Honestly.
Once the 5-bedroom detached house is your standard, you're not going back. Right? And it's the same thing. If someone makes like 30,000, 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, they're not going. If you make 100,000 a year, you're not going back to 50. You're not comfortable, and because you're not comfortable, you're gonna find a way to get back to 100 and above. Whatever it is that you make right now, you need to find a way to find a new normal. Turn your annual income to a monthly income. Find a new normal and find a way.
I think that's how I wanted to touch on it. I think even that alone, people are going to get so much from it. And it's something that I'm going through. Like, I'm going through the process of that, whereby it's like, no, like, don't see this stuff as materialistic. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If you want to if going on 3 holidays a year or 5 holidays a year makes you happy, figure out a way in life where you can have passive income that can pay you for that, and it's not a stress to you.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that you keep doing it and then you feel guilty. But that's what you want to do. That's how you want to spend your money. People are going to spend it on cars, on clothes, and different. You want to spend it on holidays.
Yeah.
So create a lifestyle where you can do that.
The problem for most people, and where a lot of this conversation comes from, is people don't know how to prioritize. People are buying Louis, buying drip, buying all this sort of stuff, but they have no assets. That makes no sense. You got to get the assets first, and then buy the liabilities. You know,
Let's talk about some assets then, because obviously,
Yeah.
you got a property portfolio.
Yeah.
Where is it mainly based actually? Firstly,
all over. I've got properties in Birmingham, Croydon, London, Liverpool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Just quickly before we get into it as well, like, what city do you prefer as well? Like, what cities are you?
Birmingham's like my second home city.
Jeez, come on. What do you tell me every time? What do you tell you every time?
Yeah. So I've got 4 properties in Birmingham, and that's just kind of like, because that's where I started in terms of, you know, that journey, and properties were pretty cheap back then, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's where I sort of started to scale my portfolio, really.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to hear about, obviously you got the first one. I actually want to talk about the stages of buying them. You know, how much they cost, what kind of strategy do you use with the HMOs, accommodation, and you know where they are at the moment.
Sure. So the first, so obviously I bought my first one in London that I lived in, rented out the rooms, etc. That provided me enough extra income to then go and buy the next one, which was in High Wycombe. I bought that for 159,000 back in 2000 and years ago. Yeah, so I bought that back in the day for 159. It's now worth just over 450. So the way that I typically work now is I typically rent them out as like HMOs. But some of them I've recently converted back into single lets and stuff for various reasons. But it's just about understanding, okay, where's gonna make me the maximum profit with the most peace.